So next, the students are going to learn about classical Greek sculpture. They're going to learn about the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, and then they're going to get some air-dry clay and try to make their own miniature sculpture or bust. And so here's an example of Alexander the Great and the Minotaur, and this is Ariadne from the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, and there's about 6 color photos we're going to send you. And here are our samples of little air dry clay busts that we did in our office. Okay, so this is my version of Alexander the Great and then this is my version right here of the Minotaur with his horns still intact. Okay, and so as you'll see, they're not very big. They're smaller than or shorter than my index finger, or just as tall. So the kids are not going to get that much clay, but they'll have 2 lessons to form their sculpture, and it's not easy, especially if they're not used to kind of art activities, but we're going to try to do a mini tutorial on how to best work with the clay and kind of get sort of the shape that you want. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I know that we're not all art teachers and this is an art class, but we're going to try to help the kids going through the basic shapes of making just the bust, so the head and the shoulder area of the sculpture. One way they can quickly kind of practice with proportions and just what the human figure looks like is quickly sketching their partner, their classmate. So I just had Shannon in the office really quickly turn her profile to the side so I could draw it, just so when I'm making my clay shape for my figure, I'm going to kind of go for this basic shape from the side. And then I had her turn, so this is kind of hard to see, I had her turn 3/4 of the way away from me. So this is the back. This is the back of her head right here, and she's looking that way. And this is her chin and her back shoulders. So that's the kind of shape I'm going to look for when I'm making my sculpture, because everything's going to be in 3D at this point. And this is the front of Shannon's face. So basic oval. And then they could see that the eyes are actually, people think of the eyes toward the top of your head. It's pretty much, when you look at someone's face, in the center of their face. So equidistant from the chin up to the very, very top of their hair at the top, or the top of the head. Okay, and then the neck, and then the shoulders. Each group is going to get one of these 2.5 pound tubs of air dry clay. You just go ahead and divide it into 4ths or 5ths, depending on how big your groups are. And then the students can cut all the way down with maybe a plastic knife, scoop out their 4th, and that's the amount of clay they get to use for the rest of the 2 days. They could use the same carving tools that they used for the soap for this. So the orange manicure stick, the plastic knife if they need it, and then also a bamboo skewer. When I did mine, I actually just mostly used my hands and the orange manicure stick, so that's all you need. And then if you only had the bamboo skewer and not the manicure stick, that works just as well. So I am going to try to make the bust of Ariadne right here, but using the little sketches I did of Shannon as kind of my reference sheet. And so, you know, especially if the kids are beginners with art, have them go for the basic shape. So we're going to make kind of a round oval shape for the face. And this is just air dry clay. It does, as the name implies, it just dries with the air. You don't have to bake in the oven or anything. After 3 to 5 days, it'll become hardened. And what's really cool is after it hardens, you could actually carve it almost like if it were stone. So you do the first bit of sculpting by shaping the clay, and then once it dries, you could actually carve it like stone, which is kind of cool. kind of mimics the original marble carving that they did in ancient Greece. Okay, so I'm just shooting for her. I'm shooting for this, at this point, with this shape, this face shape right here, kind of that upside down egg shape. So you want to smooth out, I should do it on screen, huh? Smooth out those lines. And again, they have 2 days to do this, so they don't have to rush like I am. And they have 2 days where they're actually molding the soft clay, but again, once it hardens after 3 to 5 days, they could keep on going back to it to fix it if they want to. So I kind of have an oval shape right here for the front of her face. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about this part because that's her hair. I'm going to add to that later. Okay, so let's go my side profile. Okay, I'm going to want, oh, it's actually pretty good. So I'm going to go in a little bit at the neck area. This is the front of her face. This is the back of the head. Okay, I'm not going to worry. I'm eventually going to have to do a neck to put this on. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Okay, now with this drawing, remember, the eyes are about halfway down in the oval of the head shape. So I'm going to kind of, I'm going to do that shape. Just going to press them in. Oops. So I'm just kind of pressing them in with the flat end of the orange manicure stick. I'm gonna reshape that later. I just kind of want to get where the eye area is. Okay, and then I'm going to put the nose on. So I'm going to get a piece of clay. Do just kind of a triangular nose shape. On the back end, I'm going to poke it, and then also poke the part of the face. I'm going to stick that on just so it kind of sticks better. Okay, so I just put my nose on, right, and it's a little bit bigger than what I want, but that's fine because I could mold it or carve it down. So I'm just going to with my orange manicure stick kind of get the basic shape that I want. I'm eventually going to just use my fingertips to smooth it out. So I'm beginning to get basic face there. So the proportions that I want, let's look at that little sketch right there. Okay, probably want to make the chin a little bit pointier. So let's see. Make a little bit of a stronger chin maybe. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more off camera, but you can just see how I'm just really slowly molding the head shape. Okay, so I just want to show you where I am right now. So let me take this off. I was shaping her basic face shape just a little bit more. It's not quite there, but you can see where the eyes are and the nose and the mouth. The profile is pretty good. Again, I was going off of this sketch right here of Shannon's profile right there. And then now I'm going to do her hair. So I just got a kind of random piece And I'm going to stick it on top, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to shape it from there. And again, this is the finished product I'm going for right there. So not anywhere close just yet, but again, it's been about 20 minutes so far, and the kids have 2 hours to do this, so they could take their time. Next, I'm going to stick this onto the neck shape, the neck and maybe a little bit of shoulder for the bust. Okay, so I've actually created shoulders for her, which the sculpture doesn't have, but I needed it for this because otherwise the head would just kind of fall over. So we put her on a neck and shoulders, and I'm going to try to teach you if the lighting is good. So you can kind of see that I use the end of the orange stick. I'm going to kind of press in where her eye sockets would be to create kind of this deep pocket in there. And I'll teach you a trick to make it look like the ancient Greek statues. And take a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of clay. Kind of shape it into a nice almond shape. Very small piece right there. Shape it into kind of an eye shape. I don't know if you can see that. And then you stick it into the socket, which I know is a tiny, tiny, tiny detail, which your kid's gonna be like, oh my God, seriously? But it kind of gives it that ancient Greek sculpture look. So you stick the eyes in there, and then again, you can carve at them or away at them as the clay starts to dry a little bit. Okay. So something that we're noticing with this sculpture of Ariadne is that she is actually wearing a headband. So we're going to use the orange stick to, we're not going to like roll a headband out of clay. We're just going to make the imprint into the clay. That's the hair. Okay, so what were we doing? We're doing the headband, so we're going to go all the way around. And just, again, be really careful about what you're holding on to, because you could be smushing. I was smashing the chin area as I was working on the hair, so warn your kids about that. Okay, so you have the basic imprint of her headband, and once you have that shape down, you could go in and kind of make it a little bit more smooth. And again, adding details as you go. And then her hair kind of has these really nice striations to show the individual hairlines. I don't know if I could actually do that, so let's see if we can, if it looks good at all. Yeah, we can do that. And again, you students can experiment. The clay is really forgiving. If we don't like it, we can just kind of smush it out. Okay. Do that here. Okay, so I don't know if you can quite see it. The lighting's not that great, but this is my nearly finished bust of Ariadne. There we go. I'm gonna let it dry for 3 to 5 days, and then I'll be able to carve away a little bit more and get some of the finer lines in there, but this is my basic shape. So there we go. This is what the kids are gonna shoot for. And yes, if they are not really comfortable with art, it's gonna take a little bit of work for them. They don't have to make it perfect, just as long as they give it a shot and see what they get. Okay, so there we go. Ancient Greek sculptures.